All right, Erev Tov. Good evening. We are continuing in our introduction to the Rambam's Mishneh Torah. Tonight's Shiur is dedicated by our dear friends, Rabbi Nachman and his wife Feigy, Reiter of Israel. The Neshamot, Feigy's relative, Eliyahu Shemuel Cohen, who was one of the people who passed in the tragedy in Meron on Thursday night in Israel. He wishes Neshamah should have an Aliyah Gan Eden, B'ezrat Hashem. For those who weren't with us on Shabbat, and if you weren't with us on Shabbat, then I'm hoping that you'll be able to join us sooner than later for a Shabbat, B'ezrat Hashem. I want to repeat briefly some of the sentiments that I shared then. For those of you who are part of our Kehillat HaShamayim in San Diego, it never hurts to hear it again. I've heard an unbelievable amount of things since Thursday night. From people saying they deserved it in Meron. From people saying, this is not my nation. These are Charedim who go to rabbis' graves. From people who tell me that this is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai telling people he doesn't want them in his grave. From people wanting to find out if it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who was angry, if it was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai who was angry, who caused the tragedy. From people telling me that the number of people who passed away correspond to the gematria of such and such, which means that Mashiach is just around the corner and these people were there. Hevel Havalim Amal Kehillat. Kehillat says that all of this is nothingness, it's all emptiness. I've never heard more nonsensical things in my life than I've heard in the last, in general, year and a half since COVID set itself upon us, but more in the last 5 days. On Pesach, the story that our rabbis tell us is that the Jewish people were crossing the sea. And as the Jewish people were crossing the sea, the Egyptians were drowning behind them. And the angels began to say Shira. Shira, for those of you who are with us on Shabbat, Shira means not song. Shira is the rabbinic term for Hallel. They began to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the miracle of destroying the oppressors of the Jewish people. Amar Ribono Shel Olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells them, Maaseh yadai tov'im bayam. My creations are drowning in the sea. V'atem mevakshim lomar shira. And you wish to sing to me, to praise me, that my creations are dying? From here, our rabbis receive a tradition not to say the complete Hallel in the end days of Pesach. That our joy of being saved is cooled down by the downfall of our enemies. A number of years ago, and if I lose some people who might be new to the Shiviti Bet Midrash, it's okay, welcome. I hope I won't, but I've made this mistake before. A number of years ago, I shared something in social media that I don't regret at all. There was an incident in the Hajj, on the Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca. I think all of you know that I'm not a Muslim and I don't go to Mecca. But on the Hajj there, on the pilgrimage, there's a terrible tragedy of people who were stampeded, they were trampled to death because of the sheer amount of people who were there. And I saw people writing things on the internet. Yeah, more of them should die. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should do this more. Amazing. All of our enemies should die this way. And I wrote a post. I quoted this Midrash. I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's creations are dying, and you wish to say some kind of praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that? What kind of sick people are you? What kind of human beings are you? A loss of life is a loss of life. And people got very upset. And so I said something like, if you don't like what I'm saying, so you're welcome to remove me from your social media accounts. Baruch Hashem, a number of people, some of them don't even live so far away from me. We weren't friends before, but now we're not even fake friends on social media. And when I hear things that people saying, we don't believe in going to rabbis' graves and Lag BaOmer and Hilulot and Kabbalah. You don't have to be a Kabbalist. You don't have to visit Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's grave. You don't have to believe in any of the stuff that's going on in Lag BaOmer to be hurting from the fact that people in our nation lost their life in the most horrific and tragic way. And if it drives the point home at all, I spent 3 hours on Thursday looking for my in-laws who were in Meron. And after we found them safe, we then split up, the 13 siblings of my wife, all of us, busy looking for the nieces and the nephews and the cousins and whoever didn't answer, and the cell phone towers crashed, and panic, hours and hours of panic. We were lucky. We got phone calls at the end of the night from everybody. But there are mothers and there are husbands and there are parents and children and extended family and friends who lost their loved ones on Thursday night. And the only feelings that one needs to have is a basic, forget Jewish compassion, Jewish dignity, I don't understand. Basic human compassion, human dignity. Now you want to add on top of that? Harav Uziel always said that we are first human beings and then we are Jews. After you have human compassion, Jewish compassion. These are our brothers and sisters we're talking about. These are our families that we're talking about. I don't care which ideology you belong to and don't belong to, but at the end of the day, these are brothers and sisters. There's a yetzer, inclination of callousness that grips people when they, I don't know exactly what causes people to be callous. I'm sure that all of us are guilty, myself included, at different times. But there are people who the Torah tells us, "Umaltem et orlat levavchem," that you must circumcise the foreskin of your heart, the orla of your heart. And I wonder sometimes if how many people who are part of the Jewish people because they have a brit milah, but how many of them have actually done a brit milah to their heart? How many of them have a heart that's showing? How could it be that other people have more baishanut, more rachmanut, more compassion, more gemilut chasadim than our own people have? The Rambam tells us, Shlosha simanim hem b'Yisrael, there are 3 signs of a Jew. If you wanted to figure out which fish is kosher, which fish is not kosher, you look at the fish and you see it has fins and scales. If it doesn't have fins or scales, it's not a kasher fish. You want to figure out if an animal is kasher or not. It has split hooves and it chews its cud. The Rambam says, how do we know that a Jewish person is Jewish? How do you know if someone is a kasher Jew? I have Talmidim, Gerei Tzedek, Balei Teshuvah. They're asked in random places, prove to us that you're Jewish. Come on, dear rabbi who's asking for someone to prove they're Jewish, can you prove that you're Jewish? Can I prove that I'm Jewish? What's a proof of being Jewish? And what makes a Jewish person Jewish? Shlosha simanim hem b'Yisrael, there are 3 signs of a Jewish person. Just like a fish has fins and scales, Jewish people are baishanim, bashful people, humble people, rachamanim, compassionate people. V'gomlei chasadim, and there are people who do kindness to other human beings. And the Rambam tells us that if you meet a person who purports to be Jewish and is lacking in these 3 character traits, Tzeh uvdok, go and check if he's really mizera Avraham Avinu, if he's really a descendant of Avraham Avinu. Go check. Most likely he's not. It's a requirement on us to have a live, to have a heart, to be bnei Adam, to be human beings. And we can't change the whole world. We can't fix what everyone else thinks and what everyone else does. What we can do is to never forget that the first character trait that we have to have is to be like our Creator. V'halachta b'drachav, you must walk in the ways of the Creator. And our rabbis say, how can you be like the Creator? The Creator is the Creator, and we are, what are we? We're human beings. And our rabbis tell us that how do you walk like the Creator? By being like Him. Mahu rachum, just like he's compassionate, so too you should be compassionate. Mahu chanun, just like you also. Mahu mevaker cholim, just like he visits the sick, so too you should visit the sick. Mahu menachem avelim, just like he comforts those who are mourning, so too you should do that. And the Gemara goes on and on. The number one thing that we came to this world to be is to be like the creator of the universe. And the creator of the universe always asks, Maaseh yadai tovim bayam, my children are drowning in the sea. I don't care what your ideology is. I don't care what you're feeling. But how dare we raise our voices, umevakshim lomar shira. And I think that anything more that I say will do a disservice to anything that I've said until now. But I want to just set the pace and set this tone in our Beit Midrash, regardless of what our personal opinions are on anything that has to do with any of the celebrations last week. First and foremost, we are coming to the aid to be compassionate, to show love to our fellow human beings, our fellow brothers and sisters. B'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send a refuah shlema to all those who are still sick. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send comfort to all the families who are mourning. And may the Neshamot of those who are lost find peace with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the next world.